Well, we're here to unveil another marker, and that's not a part of our 2 Mile Heritage, a trail that's in the heart of the city. It's very important in the history of Columbia Black community that we recognize Miles Manor and make that a part of, uh, of the program that we've put on for the past few years. As always, I want to thank the Sharp End Heritage Committee and the African American Heritage Trail Committee members for their dedicated work on this project. If you're a part of those committees, please just raise your hand real quick so we can know who you are. And thank you very much for all of your hard work and dedication to making this happen. We'd like to thank the many community members, institutions, and organizations that have helped us to make this trail a reality. It is truly a community project, and it's been done for all of us to take part and realize that we have a history of African Americans here in Columbia, and that we're celebrating that, and we're bringing that history to light and making it a permanent part of the history of who we are as a community. We have Mayor Treese here. He's going to be our featured speaker for today, but before I bring him up, would like to recognize some of our other community leaders that are here participating with us today. First, I consider all of you community leaders and everybody that's here today. I really appreciate, everything that you've done to make this a reality. We do have, I believe, our Deputy City Manager, DeCarlin Seawood, here. DeCarlin? Thanks, DeCarlin's representing the city and all of the many agencies within the city. John Glasscock is on vacation, but John wanted to make sure that his organization was represented, and thanks, DeCarlin, for coming out. We have some council members here. Ian, we have Ian, our Fourth Ward Council member. Any other city council members that I haven't here? If not, that's okay. We have Justin Alford from First District 1 Commissioner. Justin, I saw Justin. There's Justin. Okay. Janet Thompson, District 2 Commissioner. Okay. Thank you, Janet. And is Dan here? Dan Atwell? Okay, don't see Dan, but Dan's our presiding commissioner. Representing the University of Missouri Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Division is Assistant Vice Chancellor Dr. Sharon Russell here. Okay, well, I'm sure he'll be here before the day is out. Stacy Button, President of Ready. Stacy. She's been very helpful, helping me out up here today. There's Stacy. Thank you, Stacy. We have a new housing programs manager, Gary Anspa. Is he here? Is Gary here? If not, Randy Cole, president of the Columbia Housing Authority. Randy's been really important because Randy came up with this idea to recognize Miles Manor in the beginning, and he got with Stacy Button, and they decided to be co-sponsors of this event. So thank you very much for the work that you put in, and congratulations on your new job. Matt from Vid West Studios is going to be filming this for us. Matt, you want to wave? Thank you for coming out and filming. Thank all the media for being here. We really appreciate you supporting us. Matt McCormick, president of the Chamber of Commerce. So Matt, thank you, Matt. Andrew Graybar, United Way. There's Andrew. Thank you. Chris Horn from the school board is here. Okay. I think the Police Chief Jones is here. And our own Dr. Clyde Ruffin is here. Thank you. Appreciate it. And with that, we'll get into our program. We like to bring up our Honorable Mayor, Brian Treese, and he's going to get the program started. He's been very, very supportive of all the work that we've done over the years, and he really likes being part of the history and telling some of that history about Columbia. So, Mayor, we'll give it to you.
Thank you. Well, that's kind of you, Jim, and it's great to see so many friends here. And what a great turnout for Clara Miles. By now, you've probably heard the story that in 1959, when Earl Miles came home, she said, "Let's go take a drive." And they drove to a house on the corner of Russell Boulevard and said, "This is my dream house." But they weren't able to buy that house. So she had a different dream. And her dream was to build a neighborhood. And in so doing became a pioneer for development in the 1960s of Columbia. I've been to a lot of these unveilings for the African American Heritage Trail, from the very first one at the sharp end and on through the last 5 years in the Sharp End Committee's labor of love to help tell the history of African Americans in Columbia. And as the mayor during our bicentennial and as the former chairman of our Historic Preservation Commission, there's something about this one that just resonates with me in a way that others have not. I had a chance to visit with Clara Miles' granddaughter earlier today. And I asked her, "Do you think your grandmother ever got discouraged? Did she get discouraged when banks wouldn't lend to her, or realtors wouldn't show her properties, or builders wouldn't work for her, or lumber yards wouldn't sell to her?" She said, "No, she just prayed a little bit longer." Because when she went up to the corner of Forum and Stadium there to buy that land, they said, "No, we're waiting for the right buyer to sell this land. But there's a black hog farmer down the road that might sell you his land." And so she came down the road, this road right here, that backed up to the city's old sewer treatment plant. And he said, "I'll sell you 30 acres for $20,000 in 1964. And Clara went home and said, "Earl, I just bought 30 acres. It's going to cost us $20,000. And he said, "I don't got no money." And she says, what'd she say? "Where's your faith?" He said, "It's not about how much faith I got. It's how much money we got." But then they got their friends together and they began to subdivide that 30 acres and build a neighborhood. And I think one of the reasons I find this story so inspirational is because of the lessons it gives us still today as we combat the issues of affordable housing. And really, in so doing, what we're talking about is that American dream. For most people, buying a house is going to be their biggest single investment. And yes, it requires a lot of faith. It also requires a little bit of money. It also requires willing lenders and willing sellers and willing realtors in a city that makes all of that possible. And that's why I'm so proud of all of the gains that we have made in the last 50 years. And I think she would be so proud to look down today and know that it's part that her pioneerism, in every sense of that word, is being recognized today with the crowd that we've assembled here. Her granddaughter told me that she was still living here when the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial was unveiled just over that hill, when A.L. Guston Golf Course was here. And when you think about in the history of good real estate deals, 30 acres right off of Stadium next to a golf course in the MKT trail for $20,000 seems like a really good investment because it's getting closer to downtown every single day. And your neighbors and your family members in the generations of Hills and Nunleys and Miles that have lived here should be very proud of that investment, of that dream, of her perseverance, and frankly, the resilience that she didn't take no for an answer. She just prayed a little bit longer. Thank you for coming here today. I'm grateful that we have all come together to stand together and recognize Miles Manor and what it means for all of us here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Treese, for those very, very kind and inspirational words. And really, the families that start up Miles Manors are true pioneers in our community. And it's fantastic that we are here today to recognize their accomplishments. Good friend of mine is here, Mike Middleton, former chancellor of the University of Missouri. Mike. And my golf partner. Next, I'd like to welcome Matt Jenny. Matt is chair of the Ready Board of Directors, and of course, Ready is one of the co-sponsors of this marker. So it's a pleasure to have Matt come up and speak on behalf of the Ready organization and their support of our efforts today. Matt.
Thank you very much, Jim. I really appreciate it. What a great crowd. I'm really impressed that so many wonderful people are out here today. It's speaks a lot for what you guys are doing, what the committee is doing. I'm really amazed. So I wanted to start off with a quote. This quote's been attributed to Winston Churchill, although I don't. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, and I think that's a really appropriate for the occasion such as this. Along with the Columbia Land Trust, Ready is proud to co-sponsor the Miles Manor marker on the African American Heritage Trail. So we also sponsored a couple other things. We sponsored the Annie Fisher marker, and then Ready is located in the historic Sharp End. So I think it shows that Ready is committed to highlighting the vibrant history of the African American businesses from past centuries. This trail is such a vital link to an important time in Columbia's past, a time that, quite frankly, if not for Jim and the committee and the work that they've done, would likely be forgotten, and we don't want to forget that history. What this marker highlights is the African American community's attempt to find equal footing with the rest of Columbia's citizens. Home ownership and the ability to start a business are opportunities that should be afforded to all of Columbia's people. Ready, we are dedicated to learning from this important part of our heritage and giving every citizen the opportunity to start a business and find equal opportunity to thrive in our community. Without opportunity, it is difficult to find equality. Ready and its partner institutions, we offer tools of opportunity to our fellow Columbians. Tools such as, along with the Loop CID, Ready is proud to provide shared commercial kitchen space for those that want to start up a food-based business, and that's called Como Cooks. Our hub is a center for startups, and we offer business coaching, shared workspace, and hopefully you can grow your fledgling business there. And then Ready is also the home for Jim Witt and the Supplier Diversity Program. Learning from the past, we can see these important historical markers as a representation of the hard work and dedication of our African American community. These milestones were hard won by those that came before us, often on their own, and often overcoming barriers of racism and benign neglect. I think Columbia's diverse fabric is made stronger by remembering the past and learning the vital lessons that this and all of these other markers on this important trail provide. So it is truly an honor to be a co-sponsor for this Miles Manor marker and support this crucial mission. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matt. We really appreciate those comments. Matt, as chairman of the board of directors for Ready, has really encouraged the Ready organization to become more involved with minority-owned businesses, and really has supported us in our efforts to make progress this year. And we've seen quite a bit of progress in that area. So thank you very much, Matt. Next, I'd like to bring up Anthony Stanton. Anthony is president of the Community Land Trust Board of Directors, our other co-sponsor for this event. Anthony?
Oh, good afternoon. I'm Anthony Stanton. I'm the president of Columbia Community Land Trust. I have to give thanks to Miss Clara for letting us stand on her shoulders and the shoulders of this community, because her vision is what we strive to continue to do in modern times, and to go through the turmoil that she went through to make this a reality, and that she could look down upon us now and see an African American as the president of the land trust that pushes the same agenda that she had over 62 years ago. I think she'd be very proud. The CCLT is a nonprofit organization that was a vision of Randy Cole and a very progressive, forward-thinking administration led by Mayor Treese. In 2016, the city adopted an ordinance, 022919, that allowed the exploration and formation of the Community Land Trust. From that point on, through Randy's leadership, he got the right people on the bus as co-founders or founding members, created the organization, and moved forward and basically moving forward with Miss Clara's dream of affordable housing, fair housing, and opportunity for both. So, again, I thank Miles Manor, the people that lived here, the people that fought to build this place. Here we are. Now, our mission is to create and maintain permanent affordable housing in Columbia, Missouri. What is permanent? Permanent is almost like this community here. The families kept it in the family. We have some of the original families still here. They kept it affordable for their lineage and for future lineages. And that's what we do at the CLT. We acquire land, we build affordable housing. Our business models allows us to retain the land and able to pass on the investments that we get from donors, the city, the federal government, and recycle that over and over and over again through several generations. So that's how we create permanent affordability. At this time, we have 13 built and sold houses, 4 pending sale, and 3 under construction. And we're only 4 years old. So I thank Miles Manor, Miss Clara, for their vision and sacrifice and lending their spirit to myself, Randy Cole, and my wonderful board to continue her vision way into the future and maybe for another 162 more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for your hand in the sponsorship and ongoing assistance for this project that we have today. Next, I'd like to introduce Tim Reed. Sometimes in the process of doing something as historic as putting together this Miles Manor subdivision, sometimes behind the scene there's significant help that people need, and sometimes you never know about it. And Tim has a great story that he'd like to tell about the support that he and his family provided to the Miles Manor neighborhood. Tim?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My dad, Jim, developed this subdivision back in 1960. He worked with George Brooks, who was the president of the American Thrift Association. George signed the plat dedicating the subdivision, and they worked with Mrs. Miles, of course. I met George when I was real young, and numerous times through my life. He was such a kind and wonderful man with a big handshake. He was a prominent citizen of Columbia, the first African American administrator at the University of Missouri. And he now has a big new dormitory named after him at the corner of Providence and Stadium. At the early formation of the subdivision process, my dad told me that they encountered some obstacles with their funding, and as if somebody was dragging their feet on the funding. And I don't know what agency it was, but my dad and Mr. Brooks traveled to St. Louis, and together they were able to apply a little persuasion and get that process started. He also told me, my dad also told me that one day Mr. Brooks brought him out to show him the land that they had found. Obviously, Stadium Boulevard wasn't here. They stopped way back at West Boulevard. They walked in, they climbed a fence, they came out in the middle of the field, and Mr. Brooks looked at my dad and said, "Jim, what do you think?" And Jim looked around and said, "George, I think you're crazy." So I think that was probably from an engineering perspective to the idea of a residential subdivision way out on the outskirts of town, which obviously it was a fine vision that Mrs. Miles had, and to get a group of adults together to agree on something was a wonderful task in itself, to form the American Thrift Association. So I think it's a wonderful story, and it's been a wonderful area.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you for your family support in getting the Miles Manor neighborhood approved and built. Next, I want to bring up Barbara Harrell. She's a founding member of the Sharp End Heritage Committee and the African American Heritage Trail Committee. Barb's a Boone County native. Barbara grew up in Columbia's black community, living with segregation until she graduated from Douglas High School. She and her late husband, David, built a home in Miles Manor in 1972, I believe, and have spent most of their adult lives here. Barbara's still a member of this neighborhood. And one thing about Barb is when we got this project approved and ready to do it, Barb is, everybody knows Barb, and she's a very excitable person and very energetic, and she does a million things. But Barb she's been so excited. She's had a smile on her face. It's been so grand. She lights up the room when she comes in, and I know she's very, very proud of the work that we're doing today. And we are really proud of the work that Barb has done for our community. So with that, Barbara.
Thank you and welcome to my neighborhood, all right? This is Miles Manor. This is our soul place. If you don't feel welcome, it's your own fault because we love you. I want to just share real quickly some stats about who's out here. As I call your name families, original families, there were 16 original families in the 60s. I'll start with the Mileses, the Masons, the Brooks, raise your hand when you see your name, the Turners who live right there, the Bonds, the Browns. Talk in the mic. I talk loud enough. Okay, ready? The Browns, all the Browns. All right, wave. The Coopers. There was one white family in the neighborhood, and he always said he was our token, but he was a good man. He was a Supreme Court judge from Jefferson City by the name of Wilson, and he built his house directly across in front of the Miles, so Aunt Claire kept a good eye on him. The Nunleys. Wait, now, don't clap yet. There's two sets of Nunleys. There's the Lewis Nunley family, all right? And then there's the Raymond Nunley family. Raymond Nunley family, raise your hand, okay? The Ballingers, there was Ernest Ballinger. They have since moved to California. John Kelly and his family, all the Kellys, okay? Leroy Smith's family, the Smiths. Byron, okay? The Roy Lee Grant family right here. I don't know if any of the Grants came out of the house, but they are here. The Eubankses. Where's our bank? Oh, okay. And last but not least, the Lewis families. Leo Lewis's family, and Mark has come all the way from St. Joe to be with us, coming home, right? And later on, yes, that's 16 original families. That meant that they built these homes and came into them. Later on in the 1970s, 6 more families. We finally got our money together and we could come out here also. And I have a story about why I couldn't come buy a house on 300 Crown Point, but that's another story. Okay, there was the Artwell Johnson family, of course, the David Harrell family. There was the Walter Anderson family, the Roland Ballinger family, the Monroe Hills family, and the Newsoms family. So we are all out here, and guess what? 9 original families are still in the neighborhood. Those are the Grants, the 2 Nunley families, the Smiths, the Kellys, the Eubanks, the Masons, the Harrells, and the Monroe Hill family. And now I have a real pleasure. I was going to do all the talking, which I love to do, but I thought you should hear from the granddaughter and the grandson of Clara Miles. And Sheila Collins Tippins is coming, and Lonnie, come on down and stand with your cousin on this side of the hill. And also John Kelly, come stand on this side of the hill because you're going to represent the older families that were here. His mother, Miss B. Kelly, is almost 100. Grandma's, Miss B is how much? 97. And her husband, John's dad, was a policeman. So we had a policeman in the neighborhood, okay? Okay, and lastly, Ray Nunley, little Ray. Where's Ray? Come on down here. You got to say something for the Nunley family. All right? And I know your big sister wants to drag along, right? Okay, all right. So I'm going to step out of the way, and each of them are going to do their comments, starting with the granddaughter and grandson. Sheila?
Okay, my name is Sheila Tippin, and I am the granddaughter of Clara Miles. There was an African proverb that stated, "It takes a village to raise a child." A village where black children could be kids, have the opportunity to attend better schools, and their families could have better housing was something my grandmother had always envisioned and desired. From the time that they were over on Pendleton Street all those years ago, simply put, she wanted a better place for black families to live. So instead of waiting around for her dream to happen, she began putting her vision into action. This vision became a place of hope, a place of strength and security, a place filled with love and the grace of God. With prayer, with God by her side, with the help of family and friends encouraging her and following her orders, and the city of Columbia pushing for her to make this dream come to life, Miles Manor was born. Our family, my mother, Beverly Jean Collins Chikasu, and my aunt, Wanda Sue Ballinger, and the rest of the family would like to thank you for acknowledging that vision, as well as the hard work, the blood, the sweat and tears, and the determination that developed the first black subdivision in Columbia that focused on African American home ownership. And today, that vision is lovingly known as Miles Manor. Thank you.
John's just going to bring greetings. Bring greetings.
The mayor made a wonderful speech on Miles Manor, and I had put some remarks down for this meeting, but it's now worthless. So let me just go off the top of my head. When Miles Manor was first visualized, a lot of people thought it was too far out of town. So a lot of people would not support this project. But when you look at the improvement in the standard of living, it is amazing. We lived in a house on 5 East Worley. We had 1 bathroom. We had no hot water. We had to heat water on the stove and pour it into a tin tub to take a bath. And Clara Miles' vision helped us build the house, which is right around the corner. And in 1965, the Kelly family moved into a house that was air conditioned. It had hot and cold running water. It had a shower and a fireplace. And so that is a testament to her dream and how we all work together. And it shows us now today how when people come together, good people, and work together for a common goal, the whole community will benefit. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Pamela Nunley, and this is
I'm Raymond.
Yeah, this is my little brother, Raymond. First thing I would like to say is Claire and Earl Miles are looking down upon us today and smiling. So on behalf of the Raymond and Mary Nunley family, we are so humbled and grateful for this joyous occasion. We cannot thank the sponsors enough for having this occasion that's making us so happy to be a part of the first Black African American subdivision in Columbia, Missouri. And a special thank you goes to our dear friend, Barbara Harrell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, give me her.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. I'm Raymond Nunley. I am a product of our environment, which is just wonderful. When we hear that outside this bubble, it usually sounds a little bit negative, but in this case, it's a very, very positive thing. I want to thank the families that are here today. In fact, I want to thank everyone that spend their time and effort to come out on a very warm day to hang out with us at Miles Manor. So thank you guys very, very much. As you know, in fact, if you guys will indulge me just for 1 second, I want to invite a couple more people up here to this podium because I believe they need to be seen. All my neighborhood boys and girls that grew up, could you come up here, please? Mark Lewis, the Browns, the Smiths. Come on up, guys. Tibbs, everyone that grew up here.
Come on down, keep your head.
And I know this 100%. Every one of these guys and whoever entered the neighborhood in that White House right down the corner, if you stopped by, came in the door, you was going to be fed by this wonderful lady right there. There's no one in this neighborhood escaped her food. So thank you, Mom, for feeding everybody all the time. You guys don't want to say anything? We're going to share this mic, so Mark Lewis.
I can attest that Mrs. Nunley makes the best pancakes ever. You know, growing up here with all the kids that were in the neighborhood, it couldn't have been a better environment. We had the woods we could go down and explore. There was only one way in and one way out, so we knew who came in and who came out. We could play in the street and not have to worry, but it was great. And I think, you know, we've had professional athletes, state champions, Hall of Famers, you know, an artist come out of this neighborhood, and I think it was, if this was an experiment, it was wildly successful. So that's all I can say.
Because they want to talk forever, and they did in the neighborhood. I'm going to close them down. But one thing I got to say, these kids, all of them, including mine, who's not here right now, if the light began to blink, they all knew that if that light came on, they better be in their houses. Absolutely. So you remember that, fellas? All right? Absolutely. And there was not enough girls, so we had to import girls for the boys. All right? Thank you so much for letting us share our neighborhood.
Yeah, I want to thank all the families of, the Miles Manor families for those great testimonies. It's, it was just good testimony. Good to hear from them, and also great to see everybody here sharing their moments with them. Right now it's time to do the unveiling, and Barbara, and we're going to unveil our sign, and Barbara and family members are going to take care of it.